Hola and welcome to today's ProSpanish lesson. We're going to get started straight away so you can see just how quickly it's possible to learn Spanish and how beneficial the auditory surge technique can be in this process. If you're one of our more advanced subscribers, you may want to skip forward to the time frame that comes up on the screen now. Otherwise, stick with us for the extra practice. We're just going to start off with a very useful and a simple Spanish phrase to say the light doesn't work. La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. The light doesn't work. The light no function. And in Latin America, those th sounds, the th sounds, they will be pronounced like an s. So it would be la luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. That's Latin America, and in Spanish, la luz no funciona. So, which part do you think is the light? La luz. La luz. And no worky, no function, no funciona. La luz no funciona. And I want to stress at this point that there is no need to memorize anything in this lesson. If you just follow the instructions and relax, it will happen automatically. Okay, so la luz no funciona. The light doesn't work. If la televisión is the television, the TV, la televisión, how would we say the television doesn't work? And if you're new to ProSpanish, then just make sure that you pause the video to give yourself a chance to process and work out the answer to the question before you hear it and see it on the screen. La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona. Okay, now at this point it's going to be useful to do our auditory surge. Okay, so this is going to happen in two parts. Part 1, listen to the repeated phrase and identify on the screen which one it is and begin reading along out loud if you can, or in your head if you're not in a suitable place. And then part 2 will be doing something similar, but you'll be identifying the translation, the meaning of that particular phrase. But don't worry, it will all be very clear on the screen. Okay, so let's get started.
El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona.
La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona.
La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona.
La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona.
La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona.
La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona.
La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona. La televisión no funciona.
El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona.
Okay, so there's your input. Now for some output from you. Okay, let's go back to our original phrase. How do we say the light doesn't work? La luz no funciona. La luz no funciona. The light doesn't work. And What about if it's the camera that you've bought that you want to take back and that doesn't work? How would you say the camera doesn't work? La cámara no funciona. La cámara no funciona. And let's have a look at that phrase. The camera doesn't work. La cámara no funciona. What do you think we would take out of this phrase so that we could say the camera works? The camera works. What would that be? La cámara funciona. La cámara funciona. So the camera works. How would you say the telephone works? The telephone works. What would that be? El teléfono funciona. El teléfono funciona. And let's go back. What would it be for the telephone doesn't work? El teléfono no funciona. El teléfono no funciona. Now you may know that the word for well is bien. Bien. Well. Bien. But it's also used to mean properly. Properly. So if something works properly or doesn't work properly, it works well, it doesn't work well, we would say properly. How would you say the television doesn't work properly? So remember, properly is bien or well. So the television doesn't work properly. La televisión no funciona bien. La televisión no funciona bien. How about going back to the light? The light, perhaps the light's flashing. The light doesn't work properly. What would that be? La luz no funciona bien. La luz no funciona bien. And how about the telephone is el teléfono, el teléfono. Let's change it to my phone. Mi teléfono. My phone, mi teléfono. How would you say my phone doesn't work properly? And that'd be the same as saying my phone isn't working properly. So how would you say that? Mi teléfono no funciona bien. Mi teléfono no funciona bien. And how about my camera works well? So in this case, we would use bien to mean well, because we probably wouldn't say my camera works properly. We'd say my camera works well. What would that be? Mi cámara funciona bien. Mi cámara funciona bien. We'll just take a quick pause there while I mention our very popular Levels 1 to 6 course. This takes the complete beginner or a near beginner right up to a conversational level of Spanish in a series of very easy to follow steps. All the lessons on this YouTube channel are supplementary, whereas the core Levels 1 to 6 is very much a step-by-step program delivered by the same teacher as all the other videos on the ProSpanish YouTube channel. And while the style is very similar to what you'll be used to from these videos on the channel, the key difference is that every lesson carefully builds on the previous lessons so that you can really feel that progress of going from very little or no Spanish up to a level where you can confidently hold a conversation in Spanish. So again, that's available exclusively from prospanish.co.uk. Have a look at this phrase in Spanish. Hay un problema. Hay un problema. There is a problem. So I, not pronounced hey, but more pronounced like the I in your head. Hay un problema. There is a problem. Hay un problema. There's a problem. You try it. Hay un problema. Hay un problema. How would you say there's a problem? The light doesn't work. Hay un problema. La luz no funciona. Hay un problema. La luz no funciona. Of course, in Latin America, it would be hay un problema. La luz no funciona. How would we say there's a problem? The phone doesn't work. Hay un problema. El teléfono no funciona. Hay un problema. El teléfono no funciona. And incidentally, how do you think you would say there isn't a problem? What do you think you would add before there is, before I, to say there isn't a problem? What would that be? No hay un problema. No hay un problema. There isn't a problem. No hay un problema. We could say no hay un teléfono. There isn't a phone. Okay, the word for with is con. Con. C-O-N. Con. With. How would you say there is a problem with the light? There's a problem with the light. What would that be? Hay un problema con la luz. Hay un problema con la luz. How about there's a problem with the television? Hay un problema con la televisión. Hay un problema con la televisión. So we started off with la luz no funciona. The light doesn't work. And if we just said, let's take away the light, and it's no funciona, that means it doesn't work. So we can just say it doesn't work is no funciona. It doesn't work. No funciona. How would you say there's a problem with the light? It doesn't work properly. It doesn't work well. There's a problem with the light. It doesn't work properly. What would that be? Hay un problema con la luz. No funciona bien. Hay un problema con la luz. No funciona bien. How about there's a problem with the camera. It doesn't work properly. Hay un problema con la cámara. No funciona bien. Hay un problema con la cámara. No funciona bien. And a quick reminder before we move on to the more advanced part of this video, if your goal is to speak Spanish conversationally, then you need a course, you need a method that is progressive and works for you. And the ProSpanish Levels 1 to 6 course is exactly that, and it's available for download from prospanish.co.uk. And on to the more advanced part of the video. Have a look at this sentence. Lo hago cuando puedo. I do it when I can. Lo hago cuando puedo. Let's try also. Lo hago cuando tengo tiempo. What do you think that is? I do it when I have time. Lo hago cuando tengo tiempo. We could also say, lo hago cuando tengo más dinero. I do it when I have more money or whenever I have more money. Now let's change I do it to I will do it. I will do it. Lo haré. Lo haré. I'll do it. Lo haré. And let's continue with the kind of phrases that we were doing before. So I'll do it when I can. I'll do it when I have time. Well, let's have a look. I'll do it when I can. Lo haré cuando. And previously we saw that I can is puedo, but we can't use that now. Lo haré cuando pueda. Lo haré cuando pueda. And that's because when cuando is referring to the future, so previously it was just to do with a routine, a habit. There wasn't any reference to when in the future, but now there is. I'll do it when I can. That can is sometime in the future. And whenever it's when, cuando, plus reference to the future, then we need the subjunctive, the present subjunctive. And conjugating the present subjunctive is very straightforward and it becomes intuitive very quickly, but there are a couple of steps. So step 1, we check if it was he or she, the third person, would it end in an E usually or an A? So for example, if we were talking about hablar, habla in the third person, so that would normally end in an A in the present, the indicative. Let's have a look at puedo, poder. Well, normally, if it was he or she can, it would be puede. And the subjunctive just takes the opposite. It just takes the opposite. But step 2 is you need to make sure that the root is the same as it would be for I. So with puedo, it doesn't really make any difference because the he or she, puede, has got the same root as puedo. So we can just go straight ahead and change it to the kind of opposite ending of what it normally would be for he or she. So he or she is normally puede, he or she can, and the subjunctive is the opposite one, ending in the A. So pueda. And there's no issue with the root changing. But let's say, for example, if we want to say I have in the subjunctive, well, that would be tenga. Tenga. Step 1 was let's check what the normal he or she ending would be. Well, normally it's tiene for he or she has. That ends in E. Take the opposite. So that would be the A. So we know it's going to end in an A. And then we look at our root. And the root has to come from the first person, which is tengo. So we have to have the teng bit in there. So therefore it's tenga. Don't worry if that sounds a bit complicated. As soon as you've done a few of these, it becomes quite intuitive, as I said before. So now's a good time to use our auditory surge technique. So you will hear the phrases repeated, and you need to, first of all, identify which phrase on the screen is being spoken. And as the phrase is repeated, read along with it. Have a little bit of a focus on the subjunctive part of it, and then it'll be going on to the next one. If you're at home or a quiet place where you're not going to disturb anybody, then try to read along with it out aloud. And if you can't, then of course just do it in your head.
Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva.
Lo haré cuando tenga más dinero. 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 Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo.
Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto.
Okay, and now in the second part, listen again, and this time identify which is the translation that's been spoken. Okay?
Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto.
Lo haré cuando tenga más dinero. Lo haré cuando tenga más dinero. Lo haré cuando tenga más dinero. Lo haré cuando tenga más dinero.
Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga tiempo.
Okay, we've had a lot of input. Let's try some output from you now. So remember, lo haré is I'll do it. So how would we say I'll do it when I can? Lo haré cuando pueda. Lo haré cuando pueda. I'll do it when I can. How about I'll do it when I get back, when I return? What would that be? Lo haré cuando vuelva. Lo haré cuando vuelva. How about I'll do it when I have more time? Lo haré cuando tenga más tiempo. Lo haré cuando tenga más tiempo. How about I'll do it when I finish this? I'll do it when I finish this. And just in case you've forgotten the verb, I'll give you the infinitive. Acabar esto is to finish this. So how would you say, I'll do it when I finish this? Lo haré cuando acabe esto. Lo haré cuando acabe esto. And it's very easy to go from I, the first person subjunctive, to you. As you might imagine, you just add an S. So, puedas, you can, subjunctive. So how would we say, I'll do it when you return, when you come back? What would that be? Lo haré cuando vuelvas. Lo haré cuando vuelvas. How about I'll do it when you finish? I'll do it when you finish. Lo haré cuando acabes. Lo haré cuando acabes. What do you think it would be for I'll do it when you want? I'll do it when you want. In case you don't know, the he or she indicative, so not subjunctive, is quiere, quiere. So try to get from there to you subjunctive. I'll do it when you want. Lo haré cuando quieras. Lo haré cuando quieras. I'll do it when you want. How about I'll do it when I want? What would that be? Lo haré cuando quiera. Lo haré cuando quiera. I'll do it when I want. Okay, if you want to say as soon as in Spanish, so I'll do it as soon as you want, or I'll do it as soon as I get back. As soon as is nice and easy, and it's just en cuanto. En cuanto is as soon as. En cuanto. En cuanto. So how would you say, I'll do it as soon as I can? And again, it's a reference to the future, so it's going to be the subjunctive. Lo haré en cuanto pueda. Lo haré en cuanto pueda. I'll do it as soon as I can. How about, I'll do it as soon as I have time? Lo haré en cuanto tenga tiempo. Lo haré en cuanto tenga tiempo. How about, I'll do it as soon as you get back? Lo haré en cuanto vuelvas. Lo haré en cuanto vuelvas. And as mentioned previously, if you're looking to become a confident and a competent speaker of Spanish, head over to ProSpanish